You already recording? Okay, my mouse has been taken over.
Oh, well, just wait for Dani to switch her recording on. And whilst we're doing it, your blouse is just blowing beautifully in the breeze. I've actually got my door open today because it's just so beautiful here. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The birds are tweeting, the cats are running in and out. Are you recording?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So I have dragged Dani up. Well, she's always up very early in the morning. But Dani, you had a brilliant idea when we were chatting offline last week about us doing a little lift you up chat series. Now, talk us through your idea behind this, because I loved it as soon as you mentioned it.
Well, it's just the fact that, you know, we're looking to find people that we can just like listen to, that are coming with all the positives, because there's so much misery and agony and death and dying and doom and fucking gloom every single day. We know that's in existence, but some people are so low they can't even get out of bed. And I understand that. I've been through this myself. You know, a lot of people are grieving because they've lost someone. I have too. You know, there's so much that we've already suffered. So we just thought it would be lovely in our conversation to really kind of come together and just, you know, think of ways to kind of put a pep in someone's step and, you know, send them some love and just say, you're amazing. You're amazing, Mrs. You know, you're Mr. You know, we know you've been.
That's my Dani impression.
Oh my God.
Good.
Oh my God. I've got a goldfish impression. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it.
Goldfish.
Goldfish.
Did get kicked out of my maths CSE final exam in school for doing this, but I think it's worth it. Let us know what you think. Answers on a postcard. Okay.
I'm laughing already. That's worryingly good. Although Tinkle, my goldfish that I used to have, would be quite insulted with that. I'll just tell her that. That is worryingly good. How long did it take you, and have you been on Britain's Got Talent with that, Dani?
Not yet. I've got several. First of all, you can't get away with naming a cat Tinkle.
No,
okay?
Not a cat, a goldfish.
Okay, a goldfish Tinkle, because a tinkle is a wee.
It is a wee, but it's also Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and we've got a dog called Star, so Twinkle went with Star. So.
Oh, I thought you said Tinkle.
Oh no, Twinkle.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, God, I haven't even had any lager yet.
Yeah, exactly. I love my goldfish, but I did actually release them into the local garden centre. I had a wonderful, huge indoor pond because I love my goldfish. But where we live, we keep getting power cuts because we're in the middle of the woods, and there's nothing more stressful, I tell you, in the whole world, whatever, than having fish and the electricity going off, so you can't keep their pump going. I was almost like giving them the kiss of mouth into the water. And secondly, I just felt awful, but having them in a tank. So they went to live very happily in a huge park in the local garden centre, which was lovely. I did miss them, but I did used to go and visit them often. So
wow. Oh my God. Did you recognize them?
Well, I recognize them, but they weren't that bothered about seeing me, it does have to be said. But yeah, we really wanted to have this chat because just to some balance. So for anyone who wants something a little bit less serious and a bit of a pick-me-up, because I must be honest with you, Dani, I have had this last week a bit of, if anyone on here watched Catherine Tate, am I bothered? Just his face, look bothered.
Face.
Bothered. I can remember my daughter did that in a church thing once, and I was wetting myself and no one else was. My friend's version of the nativity, my friend and I, we decided to do the nativity play one year, and when we were writing it and doing the parts, and the children were too young to say no, so they didn't understand what we were making them do. But we were writing it when we'd have a few glasses of wine. And then when we actually did the nativity play, there were about 3 of us laughing, and then the deathly silence for the rest of them.
Oh,
but anyway, haven't been back since. But yeah, I'll tell you why I'm having a little bit of I'm a bothered week. And you can tell me what you think. Now, I know we all have to go through stuff, and we all love to offload to our friends. And part of what we do, and lots of people do on their channels, is giving people a way to offload and everything. But I think there's balance as well. And I've been really thinking over the last month about just really focusing on gratitude, because there is so much wrong in the world, but there's also so much to be grateful for. And, you know, words have power, as you and I are always saying. And I think we just got to be really careful what we put out there. So everyone keeps saying the most difficult time that humanity ever faced. Well, I remember speaking to my grandma, who had 2 babies in the Blitz of the Second World War, and saw her relatives being sent off and not coming back to the trenches of the First World War. And I reckon she would debate that that was a little bit tougher than what some people are going through now. So I think, you know, like you and I were talking offline about the schooling system. Yes, there's loads we can improve about the schooling system, but also being grateful that we've got one. Those of us that have got access to free education, that's a choice. And if you really don't like it, don't send them. And if not, at least try and get something good at it. And don't expect the school to do a parent's job.
Yeah, that's a huge subject, though. Do we want to go there? I mean, that
probably
is a
not, but I'm just
not
telling
today.
you that where am I bothered?
Yeah.
I've been focusing a lot on gratitude this last week and looking around me and thinking of all the things I'm grateful for, which isn't burying your feelings. I haven't been burying my feelings or emotions, but equally, I'd love to hear people talking about how great things can be in the moment, not just the best is yet to come and we've got these amazing things coming, because that's wonderful, but that's still taking us out of living in the here and now. Do you think?
Yeah, it's like people who are waiting for the bloody quantum financial system. They've bought all of the, all of the I don't know what you want to call it, really, all the
Zims and Dims, Doms and Go
or chitter chatter.
Yeah.
People saying it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. And these poor people, because we're so programmed to believe everything we see on the internet or everything we see on television or hear on the radio, we're so programmed that people absolutely believe it, hook, line and sinker. And they've pegged their lives on the date when this finally happens, and then I'll have this, and then I'll be happy, and then. And like you say, right now, this is the moment right now. And it breaks my heart for people. Like, they'll come to me for a one-to-one session and they'll ask me all these questions. And I say, I'm not going to try for a baby until I know that, I can afford to have it. And I'm going to make all this money on the Vietnam dong or something like that. I'm like, oh, and then it depends what the person is, for whether it's therapy or a spiritual connection they're looking for with me. But, the moment is everything. And talking of moments, last Saturday, I did a Zoom record with my babies in Uganda. There's these children I've been working with, for the last 3 years. And their teacher, he's a music teacher. And they were using this old school, and didn't even have a roof. It was in Kampala, Uganda, in one of the slum villages, of which there are many. And anyway, a friend and I sent some money to see if this guy was a Billy bullshitter or not, and see if he'd actually buy guitars. And he bought 2 guitars. They were $90 American each, like 70 pounds each, secondhand. A poverty-stricken country like Uganda, so we're told. There's so many rich parts as well of, the people are so badly treated and starved and all the rest of it. And anyway, so we realized that he was a real person, a real good guy. Then we had a party, raised more money, and then we sent more instruments, saxophone, piano, more guitars, left-hand guitars too. So last Saturday we did a Zoom, and the children had rehearsed. They've all been learning guitar, piano. They rehearsed and they sang, and it was so wonderful. And one of the little girls, Sharon, she wants to be a midwife when she grows up. And these kids have got such big dreams, and most of them are never even going to finish school. And that's the reality right now, as things are, have been. And as soon as we got off on that, I have Ivan Wenji, who's the teacher. He's walking around the slum. He's showing us all the open water drainage, mosquito ridden. These people drink. This is their water, and a well that's just really overtasked with all the many people that need water, of course, every day. Well, anyway, Sharon fell with typhoid the very next day, typhoid and malaria. And somebody that watched that broadcast that went out, they sent funds. So she was instantly able to get medicine to help her. And then Ivan sent me photographs of her, which I just can't for some reason put on. They won't load onto Facebook, but we are so lucky. Yeah. We are so lucky, but there's also something very important here as well. We are so lucky that we have not been living in the Ukraine for the last month, for example, you know, with 2 children and no help, and you're on your own and you've already struggling enough, and now you've got to deal with a bombing. However, it's so important also to remind each individual person that their pain is important. You know, they can't negate what they're going through, their healing. It's like, you know, when we were kids in England, it's like, eat all your dinner, because the children in China are starving, you know, or India, and you'd be guilted and shamed into eating what you had because you were so lucky to have this. Whereas actual fact, what it's caused is a whole generation of people from the 70s who had eating disorders. I was one of them for a while. Yeah, it's so crazy when we don't get to process, or we don't get to have a choice, or we don't get to embrace the moment and have that crying, screaming. But like you said, balance has got to be there, man. You got to have that joyful laughing, like, you know, like I just showed you, like I went to make some coffee today. I live in Costa Rica, and there was I'm looking at it, it's outside, there was a bug as big as my hand inside the coffee pot, in there, like I had to get it out. And then I couldn't leave it. I'm like, the ants are going to get it. It's not even dead yet. Like, that's why I put it on the bench, and I don't want to think it just flipped on its back. Oh, it's, you know, but I'm thinking, well, I hope it's full of coffee.
Exactly.
You know?
We're a lot luckier than that bug is today. And as you say, this isn't about saying to people that they can't acknowledge when they're going through difficulties, when they need an extra helping hand, when they need a shoulder to cry on. Of course, we're all going to be talking about, oh, how exciting, because everyone's been on this amazing and is still going this amazing voyage of discovery. I'm just at personally a stage where I'm really, really, you know, for years for spiritual development, we've been, you know, really brought to our attention about it's so important to be in the now, because tomorrow might never come. It might never come. And also, yes, there's a great thing about planning, and I'm doing a series, a book club on manifesting at the moment, and I just find that something really positive and really fun. But equally, when I've just got back a few minutes ago from my dog walk, and I found a swing in the middle of the woods on the dog walk, and I put a little video up on Instagram because it was such fun. So I was out with my dogs, and it's a beautiful day here today. And then these kids have put up, you know, one of the rope swings with a little stick attached on this pine tree. Well, I don't know how someone got it up the branch. I mean, there must have been a tree surgeon dad or something, because they got it really high up this tree. And it wasn't there when I walked that route last week. So I was like, yeah, swing. So I just spent ages on this swing. Oh. Great, thank God. I did think, imagine if that rope breaks, that would be embarrassing. But it didn't. My God. So I think so I just... you know, the QFS and things like this, it's, of course it's interesting, and of course people have got that hope there, but as you say, not pinning everything on it, not waiting to start your plans, living your life now. You know, if you want, I've said it before, if you want to run an animal sanctuary or set up a new school, do what Sherry Divban's doing and start doing it now. And then you can do more if these funds do come to fruition, but there's nothing to stop you starting now. And that's just going to draw a lot more to you.
You're so right. It's like, take the action, do as much as you can now, like that book you've been putting off. Just start talking into your phone chapters and ideas and paragraphs, and, you know, store it somewhere, and then just start. You have to take action to create the thing that you want. If you take no action, there's going to be no reaction. You're not going to manifest or create anything. I wanted to tell you a quick story about a swing. So my nan and my grandma Jean, was the most amazing person. She was the biggest, brightest light in my life and many others. She was this little tiny Scottish woman, and she was just gorgeous. And we'd go downtown, I take her shopping, and she'd just be dancing in the middle of the store, like not caring a whack who's looking, because it was never for audience. I'm exactly like my grandma these days. I'm the same. Anyway, so she was always like, you know, wandering off and having a little dance, and people were gathering around, and she'll be just digging and jugging on the spot. And anyway, this one time it was a cousin's christening. The whole family was there, you know, grandparents and mum and dad, and my then first proper boyfriend and Gary, and la 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 la. And we did the christening, and we had some food, and then we went to the local park, and we lost my nan. We lost her. We're like looking in the river. where you know, we're like, oh my God, you know, this 80-year-old little tiny, where did she go? She was on the swings.
Oh.
She was on the swing. She was just swinging and swinging and swinging. It's the funniest thing ever. We were peeing ourselves. She's like, hello, this is Guy. It's your time. I know. But you see, what she always had, and what I definitely got from her was, you know, still retaining that child, you know, that childlike, you know, because we have to learn to laugh at ourselves. We have to be okay with looking like a twat, falling on your ass. Yesterday, I'm in the ocean in Costa Rica, right? And I swear to you, I had a moment. I'm wearing my black all-in-one that like sucks everything into some kind of shape. Forget the bikini, right? Wearing one of those. And I'm walking along, and I just had this instant memory of Ursula Andress. And I giggled to myself, remembering and thinking, yeah, Dani, you know what happened to you. And at that moment, in a 10-mile stretch of flat beach, famous surfing beach, I found the only hole, right? It was 6 inches deep, up to my ankle, and down I went. And I'm alone, but there's 1,000 people spread out. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. That is me. The only hole in a 10-mile stretch, and my foot found it.
And you're going to find it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you know,
it's brilliant. I tell you about the fun. So I was watching my daughter play football yesterday, and the match was quite boring. So I was in the football club there in the room, the back room was a children's party. So I was just sitting there, and I'm sort of half watching the football and half reading my book. And then I looked round, and behind me was standing Batman, like Batman. So this dad who was obviously going, it was like they were like little 5 this party, and he dressed up. It was the best Batman outfit I've seen. So I was a bit like, Batman, and I don't even watch things like that, but obviously I knew it was Batman. But it's so well done, and I thought, God, and they had a bouncy castle in there. I mean, how often we don't have things like that at our parties? Well, can you imagine the carnage if we did? But what fun, a Batman and bouncy castle party. No wonder they were all screaming in glee. That's what we need, a few more bouncy castles. So
we definitely do. As adults, we should always have all of these silly fun things, except I know a guy who he was the most miserable, moody person I've ever met. A friend of ours who died would say, God, if I'm having a bad day, all I have to do is phone up Steve. And Steve's like, yeah, but this is what happened to me today. Honestly, such a, lovely guy, Steve, but such a moody martyr. Anyway, a friend of ours had a huge bouncy castle party because we're adults. She had 3 of them, right? Because we're all tall. We're taller than the little one. It was the best flipping fun ever. She had a slide that went into water. She had 3 bouncy castles. We're all getting hammered. We're all jumping up and down. We're all body slamming into each other. It was the best fun. Steve, I really shouldn't laugh because it's not funny really, but Steve broke his leg.
It always happens. I was going to say, someone would have broken at least an arm or leg, because it's like, I've still got the kids.
But it had to be Steve, because everything always happens the worst to Steve.
Yeah.
No matter what. And so you literally create an energetic flow to you. You keep talking about this, you're going to bring it to you. Like the universe doesn't care if it's good or it's bad. If you keep focusing on it, you're going to bring to you possibly the very thing that you don't want to happen. You know? Yeah,
energy goes where attention goes. But I can remember when, you know, I've still got the big kids trampoline out there, and we haven't taken it down because I love bouncing on it at night. And there's nothing nicer in the pitch black than bouncing up and down on this trampoline. But I do remember the sort of nurses saying that every weekend there's kids coming in with broken arms where they've fallen off the trampoline or been bounced on by some big adult who's wanted to join in.
Oh.
But I think, you know, the secret is if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit not knowing who to listen to, going out and having some fun, even if it's on your own, honestly, will really shift that energy and sort of clear it out and renew, doesn't it, Dani?
It does indeed, you know, and one of the hardest things I think for those people who were just so chronically depressed, and there are so many, and there are even more who are chronically depressed and they are on medication, you know, so they can't even feel their real feelings because there's so much going on with the hormones and the chemistry, the brain chemistry that's so affected by anything that we ingest medicinally, you know, even if we need it for whatever. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is even to press the button. And I do understand that level of chronic depression, but just by putting on music, something, anything, because the minute that you shift the air particles around you, the minute you feel, hear, sense something different, higher vibratory resonance, something happens, and it's instant. And for me, music, and I know that I've laid in bed at times really depressed. I'm a really happy person. I'm not manic. I'm a very happy person, but someone died in my life recently. So I've gone through grief. And so that's when I had this crippling depression. So I can relate to you guys who have gone through or are going through this. And that's why I'm sharing such private information, but I do know what I'm talking about. And so just that one kind of musical shifting is really, really so important. And then, you know, for me, dancing my ass off, like just not caring, like dancing like no one's watching, even though I've got glass walls. I mean, it just anything, you know, to get you, and or putting something funny on, you know, or thinking of something funny from the past, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about Catherine Tate. Catherine Tate.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. The best one for me was the Daniel Craig scene when Daniel Craig was pretending to be really in love with her. And people know I'm always joking about Daniel Craig. Every time a helicopter comes over my house, I'm like, I'm here. My kids are like, it's not funny anymore, Mum, but I'm in hysterics. I think it's hysterical, but no one else does. And but yeah, there was this one thing where Catherine Tate, Daniel Craig, is pretending to be really in love with her and buying these things. She's just like, oh no, I'm not bothered. And he keeps wanting to cuddle up with me in bed. And I'm just like, no, look at that outfit you're wearing, Daniel. I'm sorry, no. I'm not doing it justice. It is hysterical. But everyone's got a different sense of humor, and finding something that you resonate with when you're in a bad mood, if you're triggered by something, as you say, if you are in that state, it can be very difficult, but it can also be quite instantaneous if you find the right trigger. And it's worth, you know, it's worth trying. It's definitely worth trying.
Anything. And something that I do not do myself. I do not sit on the phone for hours with friends and complain. I am very, very much against gossip in general. Gossip is incredibly cruel and mean. Now and again, I have sat with someone who I trust, who I feel safe with, that I can voice an opinion without it assassinating the soul of that other person.
Yeah.
And it is extremely rare. And my friends will line up and they'll say that. If I'm out with a group of people and they're talking about somebody in a way that isn't kind, and if it's I'm not playing. Bye. I'll just get on my quad and I'll leave. Bye. I don't want to be around that. And it's not being realistic. It's being realistic, very realistic, because we've been programmed for misery. The leadership at the top of the planet, we've been programmed from birth. So were your parents and so were your grandparents, for misery. Hard work, hard labor. If you want this, you have to do this. And yes, a good work ethic is amazing. But we have been so enslaved to a thought process that now we're being invited to find ways to get ourselves the hell away from it. The hell away from it. Right? What are some of the things that you do when you want to just give yourself an instant love?
When I want to give myself, so I talk about this with Brysock, dancing, because even I make myself laugh because my dancing is so bad. People say I look like a Masamura warrior. I leap, I dance, I twirl. And but you know, it's not a pretty sight. It's 10 out of 10 for energy, 0 out of 10 for visual appeal. So dancing, singing, when I want to get myself up, I can sing along, and to me, I'm brilliant. But again, no one else wants to hear it. And then I just love spending time with my animals. So, you know, I've got a Shetland pony. You cannot go and look at a Shetland pony and stay in a bad mood. My cats, I keep looking around at the moment because they're chasing each other up and down the garden. So my two little Romanian cats are having the most fun now, having brother and sister play. And those are some of the things I really do. But also I really love plants. So one of the things I really love to do is go and find a tree or some plants to talk to. And it's because they don't answer me back and they always agree with me. So it's just perfect. Yes. Cheers me up straight away.
Best friends, they're your best friends.
Best friends. Just of course you're right, Catherine. You're amazing. Yeah. So I sort of do that. And also, much to my children's dismay, I get really excited when I see animals out in nature. So we went on this lovely walk to the pub. It was about a 10-kilometer walk and it was just gorgeous. And every time I saw a rabbit, I'm like, bunny, bunny, bunny. And I can't help myself. I slip straight back into child mode because I think every animal is just so wonderful. So if I see a cow or a sheep, and I've always had this thing where if I pass an animal and I completely forget who I'm at with, so it can be really inappropriate, is I have to make the noise to the best of my ability of that animal. So I'll be going on a walk, I'll be going moo, bah, cluck, 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 cluck. And then I forget that there's people behind me and everything. But luckily everyone's got a diagnosis these days, so I'm sure there'll be one for me. Right. But it cheers me up so much. So if making animal noises is one of my all-time favorites. What about you?
Oh my God. Well, you know, one of the things, well, animals, I mean, cows, I mean, I've had horses, I've, you know, played polo for years, but I love them all. I'm doolally, like that giant thing I saved today. Like, you know, I was the person, don't get a bug near me, an ant, no, a spider, oh my God. You get over that very quickly living in the jungle in Costa Rica. You have to get over yourself. You have to find a way to push through. We tell ourselves, I could never, I could never, I could never. I was that person. I didn't even plan to live here. Or, you know, it wasn't my plan to live here as long as I have. And anyway, you find yourself, make yourself have ways. So a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month now, there was this beetle in my bedroom and it was about this big. It was like 3 or 4 inches long, very black and very flat. Did I tell you about this? I told someone, no. Anyway, it was on the bedroom floor and I was so glad I was wearing shoes at the time. I was wearing like Vans, like high top white Vans, and normally it's flip-flops or bare feet because it's so hot, right? Oh God, this beetle was trying to get in between my books, you know, or kind of on the floor and stacked against the wall. And I'm like, oh God, I just rescued a dead gecko from there because the ants, anything falls on the floor, I swear the ants from you know, 10 miles away, they all come to my house, thousands of them, to eat whatever is there. So I see this little black bug, this big black bug, it starts going into the books and I'm like, no, no, no. And I parted the books and it screamed, it screamed, it screamed. It's not as big as my finger, Catherine. I'm 5'8", and it screamed and I heard it scream. I'm like, oh God, a screaming bug, oh my God. And I was talking to it and I'm going, I'm really sorry, but you can't go in there because no. Anyway, so I moved it and it screamed again. And I'm like, this is insane. And it was looking at me with its long, you know, anyway. And then it started coming towards me and I was filming it at this point because I'm terrible. Elena, my friend Elena, she's so scared of bugs. I have stopped doing it because it was getting a bit mean on my part. I send her the scariest things. Like if I showed her that bug out there, she'd pass out, you know, the size of my hand, dead on its back that was in my coffee pot because she loves coffee too. But anyway, so the bug is coming at me, it's screaming. And in the end, I had to pick it up and put it outside, you know, like to get it away. But I couldn't, my brain was like, I can't believe this little teeny tiny being is screaming like it's a human person. It reminded me of Harry Potter when they're pulling the mugwort babies out of the flower pots. You know, this kind of, they look like real life plants with faces. It reminded me of that screaming sound. It was terrible. Anyway, I put the beetle outside and I'm like, please, please just go, be free. Born free, be free. And anyway, within 5 minutes, it's coming back under the door again. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so I left it and I was working here and I had clients, one-to-one clients. And I said to myself, I bloody know I'm going to see that beetle. It's in the house. It came in the house to die. Anyway, sure enough, sure as shit, there it is beside the toilet. I'm like, dude, really? Really? Anyway, so I picked it up and put it outside again. It came back in again. And I just left it. But I can't handle it when they're on their backs. It's just really distressing.
No, that's really awful. That's really, really awful. So I was going to do a joke and go on your shoulder, but then I thought that might be really awful if you really screamed. Then I might be
oh my God.
Me a distant slap. But yeah, so many fun things. So I think, you know, lots of things, and lots of people have fun laughing at me. I also get my words mixed up all the time because I'm talking, my mind's working quicker than my mouth can, which I know is a surprise to a lot of people. But I'm sometimes in the most where you want to impress the most, I come out with the most ridiculous things. And then I'll start laughing and I just can't stop. And then the more inappropriate it is to be laughing there, the more I really won't stop. So that's another one of my favorite as well.
That's the worst. Laughing when you shouldn't laugh.
Not.
It is, yeah. You don't want me to be your friend in a situation like that. Definitely not. I'll never forget Harpenden. You know, Harpenden in Hertfordshire is very snooty. I was invited to a yoga evening and the lady was 80. She was just so beautiful and so flexible and really, really special. And my friend Kim and a Greek girl, I forget, we went to this, this event. And, you know, Kim was like, she's a very well-known artist and she's a great girl, love Kim. And anyway, you know, she knows I'm a bit naughty, and but it wasn't the place to kind of fuck around. You know, it was this lady's giving us her, you know, lifelong yoga, and it was wonderful. And I was invited, and I was so happy and proud. And I'm like, I'll be good, you know. So I'm sitting next to Kim, and Year is on the other side of her, and there's a bit of a gap next to me, and there's a man sitting there, a white man, very proper, very skinny, and in his yoga pants, and he's not smiling at a single person because we don't do that in Harpenden. I mean, of course, people do, but this man didn't. And he had a very beautiful Oriental lady beside him. And he was sitting very straight. And anyway, I smile all the time and say hello all the time. So I looked at him and said, hi there. And he just went. And I thought, oh. Anyway, so a couple of minutes went by and we're all waiting for people to sit down and it's packed. But there's a gap between us, which I was so grateful for. And he didn't want anyone touching his energy. He was that guy as well. You could feel it. That's why nobody sat there, because nobody wanted to be near the moody man, you know, the moody, grumpy man.
Shame you didn't know your beetle. Your beetle could have helped
exactly. Out. Yes. Anyway, so he's sitting there like this, all very, and then I said, hi there. Nothing. Right? I thought, wow, you really are just checking. You're definitely ignoring me, Mr. Hoity-toity. Anyway, it was very, very quiet. And then the lady comes in and then she sits down and now we're in silence. Everyone's in silence and we're waiting for her to go into some kind of beautiful speech or whatever. And all of a sudden, he farted.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say farted.
But listen, but it wasn't just once. He farted 5 in a row, and as they're coming out of him, they're going. The man is sitting. He's like looking down at himself as if to say to his bottom, "How dare you speak to me like that?" Well, five was because he was so uptight. 5 in a row. Well, I was done. I
would not been able to.
I had to lay down, and my friend Kim, she's like, "No, Dani," and I'm like, "Ah!" Like that. I look across at my friend, my Greek friend. She's also laying down because there was nowhere to go. People are like sitting stony faced, trying not to laugh. I couldn't even catch my breath.
You can't even blame the dog.
No, not at all. The man was just like, it was you farted 5 in a row, mate, and you got banged to rights. No, I had to go. I couldn't stay there.
No.
I had to leave the yoga and wait outside. It was freezing cold. It was winter in England. But my friend, it was her car we went in. But I tell you, that laugh, that giggle was so worth it for that moody man.
There's nothing more than fart. So when we were growing up, I was not allowed to say the word fart. It's one of the words that my mother just couldn't bear. So we'd make up, my sisters and I would make up code words. But there's something, I don't know, tell us everyone if you're watching this, is it just the British that can't stop? Doesn't matter what age you are, if someone farts. I think it's because of stiff British upper lip where you don't admit to have any bodily functions. But every one of my friends I know, that is the one thing that will set them off, is when someone does that. And the thing is when they don't own up to it, because if someone owned up to it, then it's not really funny. It's like, oh, well done, good job. But when they don't own up to it, then it's really hysterical. So I don't know if that's just a British thing, but I have not grown out of that at all yet.
Never.
I ever will.
I never. Honestly, you know, we were asking like, ways to lift people up. I literally own a fart gun. I own a fart gun. I own it.
No, you could get those. I knew Whoopee Cushions.
I'm going to go and get it.
Go and get it. We need a fart gun. Now, whilst Dani's getting that, do any of you listening, have any of you ever had a Whoopee cushion? I don't know if that's just my generation or whether they still do them, but basically it's like a balloon that you blow up and then you put it under the cushions or on someone's chair or something. So when they sit down, it sounds like they farted. So we used to have those, and we sometimes used to be brave enough to put them on the teacher's chair. And then of course you'd get detention, but it was worth it. I had no idea there was such a thing as a fart gun. I hope my mum's not watching, because I've said that word an awful lot of times, so I will be in big trouble when I next see her again. But yeah,
Oh, I can't find it.
Oh no, right. Next week, try and find it for next week, because I was just telling people about Whoopee cushions.
Yes.
That's the closest I've ever got to one. And they're still hysterical now, aren't they?
I've not been without a whoopee cushion or a fart gun since I was 13 years old.
Exactly.
And do you remember in class, do you remember that space rocks or space dust? It was a sachet of like sugary crystals. Right. And then you put them in your mouth, and then you open your mouth, it's like this really, really loud noise.
Yeah.
So, well, this one time we were teasing that my friends in Miss Hardy, our history teacher was called Miss Hardy. And Miss Hardy, she was actually a nice girl. She was a young teacher. Anyway, we were all five of us sitting at the back of the class, and I had my whoopee cushion, of course. And we were going from me sitting on it like, letting it off around the class, to putting space dust in our mouth and going like that. She'd be like, who's doing that? Who's doing that? Anyway, it was always me. It was always me. I was so naughty, and not evil, but just a naughty girl, you know, very childish and childlike, a bit like now, really. Anyway, this one particular day, she got so cross with the whoopee cushion going off, and we were passing it round, and it was my turn to sit on it, so I'd already blown it up. But even when you part the lips of the whoopee cushion, it makes a farty noise when you blow into it. Anyway, so she came over, and I had it under my butt. And then I panicked and tried to throw it. So it went on the floor. She got so angry. She was shouting at us, "You stop it, you silly girls." And she grabbed it so hard, it went off in her hand. The whole class were just like, oh, Daddy had to say, "Get out of my classroom," you know. So I did, but it was so worth it.
I know. So and now you look, and half my friends are teachers, and you just think, oh my God, we were so mean. I'm so sorry to all the teachers at school, but it was good fun at the time, and I have repented sort of since. But so next week you're going to have the fart gun. I might have to have a little treat in store. But what we need to do is we need to get on an interview with someone and pretending to be doing a serious one. And then I don't think you can get the Stardust stuff, but the Stardust would be perfect now, wouldn't it, for the lizard people or something? We could just open our mouths and go with vampire teeth.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you? I wanted to do that with Mark and Bryce on April Fools, and then I think something quite serious came up, so we decided we better not. But yeah, I do think we might have to not tell someone and do that on one of our interviews.
That would be great. That would be so great. So I wanted to do a couple of things again in terms of like lifting people up and self-care and all the rest of it. Like I highly recommend that everybody creates a self-care playlist. You know, if you know how to do the thing on the electronics, or like me, because I'm not very educated in the land of space technology all day, all night, putting satellites together and all that technology, composite materials. I am your girl. But when it comes to like figuring out some basic stuff, yeah, like it's just anyway. So, but I have because I played so much on YouTube music. YouTube will make it so that it'll say something like my mix. So now I know I have a mix that just lifts me up. Just lifts me up. Neville Brothers, Stevie Wonder, just so many different beautiful things. So I always have that. And so that makes me happy, makes me feel good. Or one of my favorite songs in the entire world, I'm 1960s. I love the 60s. I'm so born in the wrong era. They're such happy, lovely songs. But I love them. Put your head on my shoulder. Hold me in your arms, baby. Paul Anka.
No, I don't know Paul Anka.
Oh my God, that song right there. It just, I'm already transported. That's why it's so important to lift us from one state of feeling to another state of feeling. So encouraging people when they're feeling good to put together your playlist, so when you're having a down day or a drop down or a really low time, that you've got something, you've got your own self-care package there for you. Also some go-to funny videos. Like the minute we laugh, we shift, the brain chemistry shifts out of whatever depressive, is happening, or impingement is happening. And there's a video, and I have spoken about this before, but it's so worth sharing again. There's a video that I don't like to see people hurting themselves or gonna fall, and we know it. But this video is put together. This video is called Women Falling Over. Right. That's it. It's called Women Falling Over. I mean, you could look it up now on YouTube and share your screen.
I won't now because I've got other things I've opened that I don't want to.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I've got quite a lot open at the moment, but people can look that up. Yeah.
Women Falling Over. And it starts off with a woman, and it's all in slow motion, and there's music. And this woman's standing on a chair or a table, and she's glugging a ball, and she goes flying. Oh my God. And
I'm surprised we're not on that, Dani. The amount of times you and I between us have fallen over in situations.
God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's such a good video. I was thinking yesterday, I don't know what it is, but I think that I've got an incongruence with spatial recognition, because I swear I must think I'm still my 9-year-old self in terms of the width of my hips, because the amount of times I'm bashing myself, and it's like, come on, the head to body to brain to function to, come on, it's just a crazy thing. You also mentioned yourself that you jump up and down on a trampoline, and I can't even tell people how healthy that is. But for kids, for God's sake, put a net around your trampoline.
Exactly.
I met a kid. I went to a Halloween.
The little rebounders are amazing, aren't they, Dani? So I've got a rebounder down in the stables as well, and I'm always bouncing on that. It's normally here, and I bounce in between when I'm listening to things. But my son's got a party in here on Wednesday night, so I'm desperately trying to clear out all my junk. But they're really good, aren't they? And so healthy for you physically and emotionally.
Totally. And then for the bones and the cartilage, and for women, especially for women who are getting older, like, over 25, jumping on the spot, walking on the spot, but jumping on the trampolines, it's much kinder to the joints. But getting, again, brain chemistry, cardiovascular, getting all your natural hormonal system flushing, because it's the hormones that can really take you down into a depressive, feeling. But it's the thoughts that we have that create a feeling through the heart, that messages and registers in the brain, that creates the overall thought and mood that we're in. But so the trampoline aspect is really, really, really important too. And I was going to say about this kid I met at a Halloween party. I knew that this new friend of mine, her son was in a wheelchair. I did not realize how terribly, terribly disabled he was. And I walked in the room like normal, I go, "Hi, I'm Dani," held my hand out. He couldn't shake my hand. So I just kind of grabbed him in a hug and tried to make it less awkward, for my own not knowing. I didn't know, nobody'd warned me that this child, this 18-year-old beautiful young man and he'd gone on the trampoline with no net, with some friends, and snapped his, it can happen in a second. It's just not worth it. So stick a net, a big net. Doesn't matter if it looks ugly in your garden. If you want a trampoline, put a net around it, please. So important.
And even because when the children get on and they're really encouraging themselves to do somersaults and things, it's so easy to come off. Yeah
Yeah, I had gone flying smack into a net. Thank God it was there, and it was such a violent. I was trying to do. Remember pikes
Oh,
on the trampoline at school. Isn't it amazing? We had trampoline lessons in England.
Had trampoline lessons, and what was funny, Dani? So I used to be really good at the trampoline because I was a gymnast. But the thing is, they were in your wooden hall on a wooden floor, and you just had a few other children standing there like that, as if they were going to stop you when you came flying off.
No.
It is. I did notice on my Instagram, because I've got a really big lump in my lip here, and that was one of those injuries where I came flying off and put all my teeth through my lip and knocked my front teeth out. But luckily, I shoved them back in and kept them there, and they retook again. And then weirdly, my daughter, when she was about 11 or so, or 12, she got kicked in the mouth by we're playing football, and her same teeth came out as well. But by that stage, I had all my red light therapy, and they said they'd never retake. And we picked them up off the football pitch, shoved them back in, got my red light out, and didn't touch them, and they've been fine. So isn't that weird? Both of us. And my dad and I had a scar in exactly the same place because he did the same thing in a riding accident. So it's obviously some family karma. That's
ancestral heritage.
Deformed smile.
Wow, you had a beautiful smile, Catherine.
It wasn't for that, you see.
Darling, you have a beautiful smile, Catherine Edwards, all of your own. Very beautiful. Very
Can I also just finish off with gratitude as well?
Yes.
Such a cliche. But one of my morning, I haven't got the book out here. I've got so many books I'm so flicking through, but most people have heard of the Miracle Morning, and it's so good. And so I don't always write in my gratitude journal, which I know is the best thing to do. But every morning, as soon as I wake up, before I've even sat up or anything, one, it's very easy to be grateful because I've normally got at least one cat somewhere on my body, which is lovely. But I lie there, even if it's with my grandparents, and I go through all the things I'm grateful for, even before I've done anything else in the morning. And it shifts, it just puts you in that positive mind frame so quickly, and once you've done a couple, it snowballs. It gets easier and easier and easier, I find.
Definitely. So what kind of things do you start with? What kind of outline is the Miracle Morning? How does it
the Miracle Morning, I mean, my daughter's doing it brilliantly, but the Miracle Morning is setting up your routine in the morning for success. So it's normally like get up half an hour or an hour earlier, and you do 10 minutes meditation, 10 minutes gratitude, 10 minutes exercise, obviously just approximately, making sure the first thing that you eat in the morning is something that's honoring your body. So things like, like Bryce and I say, do something today that your body might be proud of. So for me in the morning, I get up and I have my lovely filtered water with some lemon or mint or cucumber in, and then I'm allowed my tea or coffee. So it's just setting some very simple things in place that you follow each morning. And then once you start getting it on autopilot, it transforms and it sets your vibration for the whole day. I mean, there's lots of variations on it, but the Miracle Morning is really good book. And I recommend anyone, he's got loads of free stuff on YouTube, really good book to listen to. And it's just taking back that control, and it's all things that cost you nothing as well.
Amazing. I also want to say again, in terms of gratitude, and I'm really not being sarcastic and I'm really not trying to be funny, given what you've just shared there. But if I have got ice cream in my freezer, if there's any left, and in the morning, I will have ice cream for breakfast. I will, or cake. And I am so fine with that. I think it's great. Now, I don't do it every day, because I'm someone, sometimes, I used to have a sugar addiction, so I have to manage that. I have to watch that, like, know yourself after, 150 years. But anyway, so, but yeah, if that ice cream's in the fridge, man, that's my breakfast. And I enjoy it. I'm grateful for it. And, maybe I'll go for a walk and think about balancing some of that out. And maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just have a fat day. You know what I mean? It's all right. I don't
ever deprive myself of food at all. I am one of these people that I'm so grateful for food. And like, if you say, if it's a cake, if it's that or anything, I 100% believe. I used to have conversations with my dad about this all the time, because I'd be sort of telling him about these health supplements. He'd be like, but Catherine, if I'm grateful for it and I'm saying it's the right vibration, I can eat as many donuts as I like. And I'm like, well, right, Dad, you can. And I think, you know, again, this comes back to what we started the day with. You know, we are so lucky to have the life where we can have a larder full of food, that we've got a refrigerator. Oh my God, I've never got over the joy of my refrigerator. And this year, for the first year ever, we got ourselves a dishwasher. Every day I use my dishwasher. I'm so grateful. It's like this miracle thing that someone decided. But I agree. I agree. If you've got something like ice cream, enjoy it. Enjoy every little morsel of it.
Yeah, definitely. I had cheesecake yesterday.
Oh yeah. Oh. We've got a pub near us, and it's really good because it's the one that we did the long dog walk through, where I was bunny. And there were gorgeous bunnies everywhere, but they do a vegan sticky toffee pudding, and it is oh my God. Now don't get onto the thing about unhealthy vegan and stuff like this. This is the best sticky toffee pudding you will ever have. So it's worth walking all the way there today, because it is just like the excitement when you get there. We normally phone up and make sure they've got it still on the menu before we go, because I think today I'd be on the floor having a temper tantrum like a toddler if I got there and it's off. But yeah, being grateful for your food is wonderful, and being grateful for, you know, in the wild, I always say to people, you know, no animal in the world stays a consistent weight all year round. All mammals are designed to fluctuate a lot of weight. It's only humans that think we're meant to be the same weight all the time. And so when you're having those treats, enjoy every minute.
Really enjoy them. Definitely.
Oh, I love chatting to you, Dani.
Me too, darling.
I'm trying to call in a little monkey behind you. If you could get one of your neighbours to dress up as one, that would be really great.
I haven't seen them today. They haven't come through.
I bet they will as soon as we switch off.
They will, and I'll send you a video. Normally they just be up in the trees up there in the jungle canopy, but maybe next time, my love.
Well, we've got loads of stuff. So my cats are running around. We've got the pheasants are out at the moment.
Pheasants.
So many species of birds. I'm turning into quite a twitcher.
Oh my God, so it's pheasant season, is it?
Luckily, the pheasant shooting has gone, because it's really sad what they do over here. They breed them in cages, quite often clip their wings, feed them so they're quite tame, let them out, shoot them. But we've got the ones that survive. So we've got a little pheasant haven here, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I love them. They're really lovely. Well, all animals are lovely, but the pheasants are really lovely.
They're such pretty birds.
They're so pretty, so pretty. And my neighbour's really good at knowing what bird's which. So all the little birds that I'm not that up on, she knows exactly what's what. So I'm grateful for her as well. Thank you so much, Dani.
My pleasure.
Next week.
Definitely. And I'm grateful for you, Catherine Edwards. And I know that you are loved by many. And we thank you, darling. We are grateful for you. And the Catherine Edwards Show.
And you, Dani, spiritual therapist. I hope you've enjoyed that today, guys. You can tell us whether you have or not below. Be kind, be gentle. And hopefully we'll see you all again next week.
Definitely.
Thanks, Dani.
Thank you, my darling. Bye, guys.